All right, what's up, fellas? Ladies, gentlemen, children of all ages. I'm fired up. It's Monday morning. It's time to go to work again. And it's Wake Up Mintzy, presented by the fine folks of Dude Wipes. Cleaning up all our messes. Let it rip with Dude Wipes, taking over the toilet paper world. Walmart, Amazon, Target, nationwide. It's a revolution, and we're happy to be part of it. The fall weather's in the air, so I've made the switch from the Stella Blue cold brew to the hot coffee. We're drinking it this morning. Shout out Big Cat. October's in the air, and what could be better? Joined by Tyler Moody from Louisiana. What's up, Mr. Moody? How are you this morning? Moody, you all right this morning?
Hey, yeah, I'm here. I have to.
Okay.
You jumped the gun with me a little bit, but I'm ready to go now. What's up, brother? How we doing this morning? I think we both had pretty damn good weekends, huh?
Yeah, dude. So there's so much to get into this morning, and we're doing a Monday morning show. We're doing Monday through Wednesday this week because I'm going to South Louisiana for Ole Miss LSU and Saints Bucks. So we're doing Monday instead of Thursday because of travel. Man, one of the best weekends. So last weekend was the worst. I came in here so depressed even on Tuesday after the Ole Miss lost to Kentucky and the Saints lost to the Falcons. And I did bad gambling and everything was horrible. And this weekend, Moody, you always say, water finds its level. What a freaking great Saturday. Holy crap, it was one of my favorites of all time. We got to start. We're going to run through it. I mean, Vandy beating Alabama. Oh, I mean, unbelievable. Like, literally unbelievable. Like, I don't even know what Vandy's second biggest win in their football program's history would be. Diego Pavia, build the freaking statue. They get this dude from Albuquerque, New Mexico, from New Mexico State. He's saying he's getting effing turned at Vandy after the field. Like, couldn't be less of a Vandy guy. And he beats Alabama as a 22.5-point underdog. Beats them 40-35. Vandy takes the goalposts out of the stadium onto Broadway and throws them in the freaking river in Nashville. Just an iconic scene. I'll never get over it.
No, I did not realize that they threw the goalpost into the river. That's insane. That makes it that much better. I watched the game. What an incredible effort by Vanderbilt. Everybody's piling on Alabama this week. I think Bama fans deserve it just a bit. I think some of the hate's a little bit too much on Kalen DeBoer. You're going to slip up at some point. It happened to him early in his career. But, dude, what a moment for Vandy. This is an incredible look, their new head coach seems like he believes in himself and the players believe in him. Great stuff from Vandy.
Yeah, Clark Lea. But the biggest thing, it just shows you what a quarterback can do. They went and got Diego Pavia from New Mexico State. They brought Jerry Kill, the New Mexico State head coach, in. He's like an administrative role. He gets to live in Nashville and like be an advisor or whatever. It was a package deal. And it just shows you, and you see it in sports. You see these franchises and colleges that have all these bad histories, and then when you get a game-changer quarterback, everything changes. And you're seeing it with Jaden Daniels in Washington right now. You're seeing it with Diego Pavia at Vandy. It's like, man, you just get that dude, and none of the past in history means anything because you've got culture changers. And Pavia, so they were telling stories about him during the game. He grew up, he wears number 2. Johnny Manziel's his hero. He said he watched the Manziel footage of A&M beating Bama in 2000, what was that, 12? Or whenever it was. Yeah, I think it was 12. And he said he watched that game 100 times to prepare for this moment, and then he goes and beats Bama. Unbelievable. Literally unbelievable. And, and I think, like you said, the hate on DeBoer is a little much. They just beat Georgia. Dude, everybody's acting like this is Vandy in the past. This is a Vandy team that beat Virginia Tech at home, lost at Missouri in overtime. Like, they're pretty damn good. They're probably like top 30 or 40. It's not like you're losing to Vandy in the past. This dude's just changed it. But just what a scene. And it just shows you why college football is so great. Like, everybody made this whole huge deal. Last week is family week, apple picking week. There's no marquee games. And I was going through it last week when I was looking at the lines, and I was like, oh, man, all sucker road favorites. I was like, this is going to be chaos. This is when all the fish get fried gambling, betting on these road favorites. And whenever you think there aren't good games and all that, that's when anarchy ensues. And all hell broke loose in college football Saturday. Just crazy. Bama goes down. Tennessee goes down at Arkansas. Shout out to Arkansas, too. Like I said, they were going to be horrible going into the year. They're not that bad. They should have beaten Oklahoma State. They could have beaten A&M. They wanted Auburn. They fight every week. They just always screw themselves, and they finally pulled one of these damn things out. It was a party in Fayetteville. Freaking quarterback got hurt. The backup quarterback led that drive down the field. I don't know what Nico for Tennessee was doing holding onto the ball on that last play on 4th down. He just, ran out of bounds. You're not going to just throw it in the end zone. It was crazy. But shout out for Arkansas winning. Michigan fell at Washington. That wasn't even an upset, though. The rankings say it was. But Washington was favored. So nobody was surprised by that. Missouri got embarrassed at A&M. You had all these teams. USC lost at Minnesota. It was just anarchy and chaos. And now all of a sudden, what a year for the 12-team playoff in college football. Because now look at the SEC. Everybody has losses but Texas, basically. And so it feels like one of those years like 2007 where you're going to have all these 10-2 teams fight for position. And, man, it's just wide open. And we're heading into the biggest college football week of the year. This weekend, Ohio State at Oregon, Saturday night. Penn State at USC. Obviously, USC, not as good off that loss, but still a big game. Oklahoma, Texas, granted, big rivalry. Oklahoma looks like in trouble. And then Ole Miss, LSU, Saturday night, Death Valley. You also have Florida, Tennessee. What a freaking weekend this is about to be. And, all these one-loss teams, Moody, so in it because of the 12-team playoff and so many people are losing. I think you're looking at an SEC where there's going to be a lot of 9-3, a lot of 10-2. And, man, I'm here for it. I think this is so much better than the 4-team playoff where you lose one game and you're out, or you can only lose one. I love this, and there's parity with the NIL, and I think it's great for the sport. And I'm bouncing off walls on this Monday morning talking about it.
Do you think there's a chance that a 10-3 SEC team makes the playoffs?
If the 10-3 means they lose the SEC championship game, maybe. Because, you know what I mean? If you have to go 10-2, and then, or if you go 9-3 and somehow, but 9-3 is not going to get in the SEC championship this year because there's no longer a West and East, and so you're going to have to be 6-2 to get in the SEC championship. I think there's a chance there's multiple 6-2 teams, but I think 10-3 might could get in if you're lose the SEC championship close. Would be my only real path on that. But you look around the SEC, and right now, man. First of all, nobody's really talking about it because they're talking about Bama losing. Dude, this A&M thing all of a sudden. Dude, they beat the shit out of Missouri on Saturday. 41-10. They smoked Florida at Florida. They got one loss at home to Notre Dame. They got it rolling. They've got LSU and Texas at home. They got a pretty favorable schedule. All of a sudden, they're in it. Missouri's out. You can cross them off. They got exposed as frauds. Tennessee with a loss, but still not out of it. I don't know what was going on, though. Tennessee had a horrible offensive effort at Arkansas. I don't know, man. Maybe we jumped the gun on Nico a little early. I don't know, but, they're still really good. They got a good defensive front. Bama's fine. The thing I was talking about with Bama before the year is coming true. We thought the offense would get better with the Bower, but it was how much will the defense fall off without Saban? Because you knew it would be some, but it's a lot. You saw Georgia come back, scored 33 points. Vandy scored 40. Alabama overs, Moody. Been on it all year, thinking their totals would be too low. And hit that over 54.5 on Saturday. Bama's going to be fine, but when you have a defense that's not elite, you can get beat on the road. Dude, they got at Tennessee and at LSU. So, for Bama to make the playoff, they got to win one of those two. They got to go 10-2. The Georgia win's going to keep them very alive, but now their margin for error's kind of razor thin at this point. But, man, just looking around, it's freaking crazy. And, hey, you know what else? Let's touch on it. Who's back of the week? The Ole Miss Rebels. What a bounce-back effort. Awful loss to Kentucky. We all know what happened. They came out and beat the hell out of South Carolina. 27-3. Dominant effort, especially on the defensive line and defensive front. That's how you answer it. Everybody and their mom was on South Carolina plus 9.5. Now, when that line came, I didn't love Ole Miss last week, but I knew those public home underdogs are the ones you don't see. It's the ones you don't see coming are the ones like Arkansas that get you. But really pumped about the Ole Miss effort on Saturday, coming out dominating. A lot of noise outside the building. The defensive line's epic with Jared Ivey and Pegues and Walter Nolan and Suntaran Perkins. And, all of a sudden, Moody, you know me. We've been friends 10 years. It's my favorite week of the year. 22nd time in 25 years I'm going to Ole Miss LSU. And all of a sudden, off this game, with all the losses in the SEC, we've got a freaking monster in Baton Rouge Saturday night. 6:30 start, Saturday night, Death Valley, sold out to hell. Dude, this thing's going to be bananas. You and me are going. Thanks to our ticket partners at Game Time. We're doing the whole freaking deal this weekend. Getting down there Friday. We're going to tailgate all day on LSU's campus Saturday, doing the 6:30 night game. Moody, I know you're pumped.
Well, I know you're happy to get a chance to see your two favorite teams go head-to-head, so you're really not a loser no matter what. So I know for you this is a great spot.
That's just ridiculous, dude. This week, there's nothing – you'll see it all week. There's nothing I love more at Ole Miss LSU week than telling them to go F themselves. This week, I'm out for blood, always an Ole Miss LSU week. There's no week that's more fun for me ever. And, and so often in this rivalry, it's like an old school rivalry going back forever, it was always LSU favored by 20. And what you'd see is like Ole Miss would play their best game of the year and like fight and barely lose. And I've seen that exact game for years and years and years. And these games fly off the freaking rails. They're always shootouts. Last year, Ole Miss winning 55-49 in one of the most thrilling games I've ever seen. They were down 49-40 with 5 minutes left. Now LSU's had a year to marinate on that tough loss. LSU's off a bye. It's Saturday night, Death Valley. Moody, the point spread concerns me. The point spread concerns me a lot on DraftKings. Ole Miss coming out as a 2.5-point road favorite. That's the worst line ever. Last year, LSU was 2.5 at Ole Miss, and when I saw that, I was like, oh, Ole Miss is going to win. I'm not saying that means LSU's going to win, but it looks like a rat line on the Ole Miss side. When you look at the matchup, I think Ole Miss is a better team than LSU, and I think LSU fans will tell you that because their defense isn't that good. However, the Death Valley Saturday night, and LSU's got a hell of an offensive passing game. Let's get buck wild, Moody. I think we got another off-the-rails shootout coming in Baton Rouge. I can't freaking wait. It's my favorite weekend of the year. And then going to Saints-Bucks and NOLA Sunday, too. I mean, I hadn't been to South Louisiana since early May, so it's time to get back. And we're gonna do the whole deal, and I can't wait to see all our people down there. It's awesome.
The best college football game that I've ever seen was LSU Ole Miss whenever Odell Beckham had the punt return late to secure the win for LSU. I was outside the stadium at the time going to do some extracurriculars, and I have never felt the ground shake from a stadium whenever I was hundreds of yards away. I mean, it was insane. I've never heard a roar like that from a crowd. There's nothing like Death Valley on a Saturday night in Baton Rouge. It is the best atmosphere in college football, in my opinion, and I have a feeling that the Tiger fans are going to have it dialed up this weekend with Ole Miss in town. I'm excited, man. We have pretty good seats again. Shout out to Game Time, and I'm very excited to go see this and watch one of your two teams get the dub here. Dude,
I won't pull it this week. I want this one so bad because when you look at this game, both teams won losses. The losers on the outside looking in has to go undefeated to have a shot at the playoff. The winner of this has got a real shot. And, for the Ole Miss side of it, if you win at LSU, it erases the Kentucky loss. Because literally, if you get through this, you're 6-1 halfway home, which I kind of thought my prediction was what was going to happen. So I'm freaking stoked. Favorite weekend of the year. Can't wait. Unbelievable. All right, let's get into the NFL. Moody.
Well, before we move on, Clint Thibodeau was saying, how about those Warhawks? And I know you had a little ULM love this weekend as well.
Yeah, okay. We'll give shout-out Clint Thibodeau and the South End Zone squad in Monroe. Dude, ULM, and I'm trying to get Coach Bryant Vincent on this week. ULM, my hometown school, over-under win total, 2.5 wins. They hired Coach Vincent from New Mexico. He's the OC there. He's the old interim UAB coach. Dude comes in and has the ULM Warhawks at 4-1. They were a 16.5-point underdog against James Madison, who everybody thought was like the best G5 team, and ULM pulls it off 21-19 in a thriller. He should be the national coach of the year for this effort. 2 wins away from a bowl. ULM's only made a bowl once ever. And I'm pumped for Monroe and the community and Sean Fox and all our people. Just what a thrilling – got to give him a shout-out this Monday morning. It was funny. Some upset Barstool people, PFT and Ebo, both James Madison alums, and I mentioned it to PFT in passing yesterday, and he was like, man, that was tough. Didn't see the ULM Warhawks coming to get them. But just the upset weekend. I mean, look at ULM. Minnesota beating USC. Arkansas beating Tennessee. Obviously, the Vandy, Alabama. I've said it forever. The home underdog thing in college football, those landmines, these 10 to 20-point underdogs can win outright. And we saw it on display all weekend long. And now, like I said, just sets up the anarchy and chaos in front of the 2 biggest weekends maybe of the year. I mentioned all the games this week. Next week's Georgia at Texas. So, man, just love college football right now, and just really happy for ULM though. They just always struggle, and they don't have any money. So, and UAB passed on Bryant Vincent, who was their interim coach for Trent Dilfer, and now they're losing by 60 at home to Tulane. So UAB getting what they deserve, and one team's tragedy is another team's opportunity. ULM beat UAB 32-6 already this year, and they're doing the damn thing. So shout out ULM, the Warhawks in Monroe, Louisiana. All right. We've got a lot of stuff to get to. Let's jump into NFL. We're going to talk baseball playoffs. We're going to talk MMA. Loving the Monday morning show. There's just so much to get to on Monday. I'm bouncing off walls today. All right, NFL. How about them Cowboys last night, Moody? I know you're a Cowboy fan. I posted this on Twitter. I've been using, so DraftKings, our partners, love them. They give you all these boosts for like the Thursday and Sunday night games, the no sweat bets, or like a 50% boost. And, they're $10 bets. And, people want to shame me for making $10 bets. I don't care. So they give you these boosts. And last night, there was a 50% boost on the game. Well, I have a strategy. I'm trying to share the strategy to everyone. Look, when you got a $10 boost bet, you ain't trying to win $20. That ain't going to do nothing. You just shoot for the damn moon. That's what it's about. So last night, Moody took a 3-team parlay, Cowboys money line, under 43.5. And then I've been looking at the big thing to boost these bets is the alternate yardage totals. And Brandon Cooks was out, and I saw a thing on Twitter last week that was top 10 wide receivers, like Don Kleiman posted it. It was like top 10 receivers, like separation rate in the NFL. It's all the best receivers in the NFL. It's Olave and Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb. And I saw Jalen Tolbert's name on that list, and I was like, huh? And it put him on my radar with Cooks out because I thought he'd get more of a target share. So I did a 3-team parlay last night, Cowboys money line, under 43.5, and I maxed out Tolbert at 79.5, and it was plus 950. And I'll be damned. He catches a 40-yarder before the half to get to 52. And then Dallas, the end of this game last night was just, epic. Dallas has first and goal on the half-yard line at like 1 a.m. because of the weather delay. The Rico Dowdle gets a run up the middle. Did you see that Pittsburgh linebacker? He running starts, jumps over the line, and just smokes the ball when Dowdle jumps with his helmet and causes a fumble back to the 5. It was one of the best plays I've ever seen on the goal line in sports, ever. That was insane. He just kamikazed it. Dallas gets the ball back at the 5, 2 incompletions, 4th and goal at the 5, and I'm just like, you're a Cowboys fan, and the Steelers always pull this out. I'm just like resigned to it. Basically have like $1,000 play to hit this parlay, and so fitting, Tolbert, after hitting the bet on him, catches the winning touchdown to win 2017. And I boosted it. It was 10 to win. So there's a 50% boost. It was $10. I boosted it from 45 to 1 to 67.5 to 1. 10 to win 675. Only in America, boys. Let's get hot 2024. What a hit. 67.5 to 1. Insane. So pumped.
Yeah, that's a hell of a win. Watching the end of that, I did not think there was any chance the Cowboys were going to win that game. The fumble, and then Dak on third down had a wide open, well, I wouldn't say wide open, but he had an open enough receiver in the back of the end zone. He skips it in on third down. And then I just thought for sure that the game was over. These are the kind of games that the Cowboys have lost over the years. I did not expect to see Dak clutch up on fourth down, but he did. And it was a huge win for the Cowboys to get to 3-2 because Washington's looked pretty good so far.
Yeah, no, massive win for the Cowboys. Thrilling ending. I know Jersey Jerry not as happy on the stream last night. Tough one on the Steelers side of it. But, man, big win for the Cowboys. And, just so pumped. Dude, I'm going to keep doing this. I'll start sharing these same game parlays more. Look, everybody has different strategies in gambling, and that's why it's great and all that. But I'm telling you, I think I found something with these alternate yardage totals. Because I'm going to keep doing the 3 results because I feel like every time I do more than 3, it's just too much. When you do 4, 5, 6, it's too many outcomes to actually hit. But when you get it down to 3, you can get crazy odds, and 3 things can happen in a game. It's realistic. And, man, I'm going to keep doing them. And, the thing I do, everybody else is doing these parlays that are 4 or 5 to 1. And, yeah, they may hit more often. But, if you're doing parlays that are 4, 5, 6 to 1, you got to hit them all the time to show profit. When you're firing 67.5 to 1, dude, you can hit one every few weeks and you're up money because the unit thing. And so I'm going to keep shooting for the moon. And then hitting that was such vindication because now we got to have a talk about the Cincinnati Bengals. Holy freaking crap. Moody. That game, that Ravens-Bengals game yesterday. Dude, Joe Burrow, all right. Burrow throws for 395 and 5 touchdowns. Jamar Chase has like 176. He always crushes the Ravens. Dude, I had a 30-1 shot on Burrow maxed over 325, Chase over 120, and Bengals money line. Bengals up 38-28 with 4 minutes left. They just completely fold. And I hedged out like a little bit to make sure I got some back on the Ravens money line at one point. Then overtime, Ravens get the ball. They're driving down to like the 40. I'm just like, I'm screwed. They're going to score. The Bengals can't stop them. The Bengals get a gift from God on this fumble. They recover a fumble on the Ravens 40. You got Joe Burrow with 395 yards. You're on the Ravens 40. And Zach Taylor's bitch ass says, we're playing not to lose. We're running up the middle 3 times in a row, and we're settling for a 53-yarder. And right when I saw him doing that, I'm like, we're screwed. Because it's a mindset thing, in my opinion. I know McPherson's made a lot of kicks, but it's a mindset in sports. You see it all the time. When you play with fear and you play not to lose, you lose. It sends the wrong message. And you've got Burrow playing the game of the year, and you just take the ball out of his hands to settle for a 53-yarder. And it was a bad hold, got shanked, and then Derrick Henry hits a 60-yard run, and it's just over. But Zach Taylor explained in the postgame, he's like, I didn't want to risk a holding call, blah, blah, blah. But it's that fear that gets you. It's when you play scared, and it was just such a bitch move by him. And now the Bengals are 1-4, and they should have won that game. And I got vengeance for that 30-1 loss though with the Cowboys last night. So all's well that ends well. But man, if I'm the Bengals, I just thought it was gutless coaching. I mean, you're just like running and settling for a 53-yarder. I mean, I know the NFL, they make these long kicks now, but you got to try to get a couple first downs. Like you have to. And I just couldn't believe it. And if I'm a Cincinnati fan, I'm livid today.
I know you're upset whenever you start becoming derogatory towards someone because that's pretty rare for you. And but you're right. I mean, it was absolutely gutless performance down the stretch right there. Horrible. It was just too conservative. You got to put the ball in your damn quarterback's hands. You gave him money. There's a reason he's your guy. You let him go make plays for you down the stretch, especially when him and Jamar Chase have been lighting it up. And T. Higgins had a bounce-back game finally, too. He was playing great football. There's no reason you don't give a chance for your stars to win you the game there.
No, and now the Bengals, that could have gotten them back to 2-3 and in it. In a wild AFC North, now at 1-4. I mean, they're kind of cooked. And, man, just brutal loss.
Could you see them trading Higgins? Could you see them trading T. Higgins at the trade deadline? Let's say they lose again next week. They fall to 1-5. I would think T. Higgins would be one of the more attractive trade pieces available for teams that are wide receiver desperate right now.
Yes, I think they could because Mike Brown, the Bengals owner, is the cheapest owner in the NFL, and part of the reason they're struggling right now is he won't pay anybody on that team not named Joe Burrow. He hadn't gotten Chase's contract. He wouldn't pay Trey Hendrickson. He wouldn't pay T. Higgins. DJ Reader went to Detroit because he wouldn't pay him. And I think what's going on with the Bengals right now is because the lack of commitment from the ownership. Him being cheap and not paying him, he's not willing to commit to a championship team, and now that Burrow's not on the rookie contract anymore, that was why they made the Super Bowl, is because they had extra money because he was cheap. Him not paying these guys has people unhappy in the locker room, and I think that's what you're seeing, in my opinion. And it's on the ownership. It's on Mike Brown. And it's on Zach Taylor's play calling yesterday, but at the end. I mean, obviously the play calling the whole game was fine until he just grabbed his throat and went conservative at the end of the game. But they're 1-4, and I think all that's the reason why. And Burrow's cooking, dude. Burrow and Chase are back. He has those slow starts, but, I mean, dear God, look at the last 3 weeks. I mean, Chase has like 4 or 5 touchdowns and freaking over 400 yards in the last 3 games. I mean, and they're still 1-4. It's freaking crazy. And while we're at it on the LSU front, dude, I think it's almost gotten to the point where I feel like when you watch the NFL on Sunday with Burrow and Chase and Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors out yesterday, it's almost just like an LSU recruiting video, watching what they're doing. Because this Jaden Daniels thing, he's the NFL MVP right now. I mean, there ain't no doubt about it. Every single week, we kind of psyched ourselves out on that one. I had the over. I thought it looked too ratty and too easy to take against Cleveland. Dude, you could bet Washington and over every week and parlay it, and it's hit like 4 weeks in a row. I mean, it's every week. They score mid-30s or higher every game. And it's just insane what Jaden Daniels is doing in pro football. And, like, I know C.J. Stroud had this rookie year last year that was one of the best ever, and Houston won a playoff game. But there's never been anything like what Jaden Daniels is doing. I mean, we'll see. Can he do it over the course of a full year? It's all about protecting himself when he runs. But I've never seen anything like it in my life. Dude, he's probably, literally, he would be the NFL MVP right now. I think easily.
Yeah, just based on the early season expectations for Washington, what he's done, where they're at currently, yeah, if we were voting right now, it would have to be Jaden Daniels. Has there ever been a player win Rookie of the Year at MVP? I don't think that's ever happened, right?
No. Dude, quarterbacks never rookie. Dude, rookie quarterbacks have only started. Rookie quarterbacks have only started playing well recently. It used to be a thing. I mean, Peyton Manning, granted, came to a 2-14 team, but he threw 28 interceptions his rookie year. You know, like this thing where rookies are good playing quarterback in the NFL is like totally a new thing. But Daniels is on a level it's unbelievable what he's doing for the Commanders. And, happy for PFT after all the years of long-suffering quarterbacks. But, man, it's just so fun to watch him just play football every Sunday. It's the story of the NFL right now. Some other stuff to touch on the NFL. Did you watch that wild Houston Buffalo game?
I did watch the wild Houston Buffalo game. I have my fantasy set up here, so I'll have games on both screens, and then I'll have one on my TV here too. So I kind of lock in on Sundays. So I watched pretty much everything. Incredible effort from Houston. The only freaking bet that I gave out on Friday that missed this week was Cam Akers over 51.5 rushing yards. He finished with like 42, I think. They gave Ogunbowale. They gave him freaking 15 carries. He ran for 30 yards whenever Cam Akers looked vastly better than him out there, and they just screwed me. I thought that for sure Akers was going over 51.5. It was one of my favorite bets of the week. And, of course, my favorite bet of the week was the only freaking one that I lost. I went 5-1. But, whatever. The great effort by Houston. They needed that. They needed to show up and remind themselves internally that they can beat the best teams in the NFL. Because I still think there's tons of talent here. They've gotten off to a slow start, but they're going to be very scary.
Well, their record's still pretty good, though. I mean,
Yeah, but I expected them to possibly be an undefeated team at this point. Like, I really think they are. I mean, they've only lost.
Aren't they 4-1? They just lost to Minnesota, right?
Yeah, I guess you're right. I thought they were.
No, well, the thing with them, though, is that they really haven't, gone crazy on offense yet. And I think they were going to do it yesterday until Nico had that long touchdown, but then he left with a hamstring injury, and I think that slowed him down because he's one of the elite receivers in pro football. But, dude, they're 4-1. They're getting it done. They got a really good defense. Josh Allen went, 9 for 30 yesterday? Crazy. And so you got to give Houston credit. They're finding a way. They're getting it done. Gambling-wise yesterday, I've never been – I mean, if you're going to lose, I always say do it spectacularly. I mean, I had a great day overall, but I fired huge on the Colts-Jags under, and I saw Flacco's opening drive going 7 for 7. I'm like, I'm screwed. And then it ends up being 37-34. So some egg on my face on that one, but I still had a really, really good weekend, especially I went 3-1 college football Saturday in picks, and then I gave out Juice Wells, the Ole Miss receiver, going back to South Carolina. I had him plus 650, max alternate yardage at over 89.5, and he hit it. And so, I mean, I cooked him this week, man. Just awesome week despite the 3-unit loss on the Colts-Jags. But, man, I was way wrong on that Colts-Jags. And like I said, the beauty of gambling, look, I'm always going to tell you when I get the crap kicked out of me, and I'm going to tell you when I win. I mean, I'm not going to duck it. I never will. And that Colts-Jags was rough. Any other NFL stuff? Oh, yeah, NFL stuff standing out. How the hell the Niners are 2-3? Wow. Mm-hmm. They blew that. Did Jordan Mason's fumble on the 10 and then Arizona goes down and gets a field goal. What a win for Arizona. The Niners completely choked at the Rams and Arizona now. I can't believe they're 2-3. They easily should be 4-1.
Yeah, they could have easily won that game. It just felt like they gave it away. Talking about getting kind of conservative down the stretch, I feel like the 49ers did the exact same thing. They could have won that game, allowed Arizona to get back in, and then ultimately the Cardinals backdoored them. Kyler Murray, great effort down the stretch, though. You got to tip your cap to Murray and the Cardinals for coming back and beating the team that they need to beat if they're going to win that division.
Oh, and there was 101 degrees there, dude. I mean, it was crazy out in the field. You could see Murray was just like under shade dude, everybody looked exhausted in that game because how hot it was yesterday. But big win for Arizona. Other quick NFL thoughts. Denver now 3-2. Big breakout effort, crushing the Raiders. Seattle, man.
Yeah, that was
Seattle, horrible.
People don't
effort.
realize. I realized that I was the only person on the Denver bandwagon going into the season. They're better than people realize. Bo Nix slowly but surely is figuring it out. That defense is way better than people expected. Denver now 3-2, and with Kansas City losing a lot of pieces offensively, if they were to actually regress here, Denver's going to be on their ass the entire season. I think the Broncos are the team that's going to continue to get better and better every week, and I'm sticking with my original belief before the season that they are a playoff team. They're now 3-2. I think they can make the playoffs in the AFC. I really do.
Well, I thought they'd be like 8-9 and improve, just getting Wilson off the team. My only thing with Denver, I do think the defense is good, and Nix has obviously been up and down, but he's playing a little better. I wish they had like a couple of guys that could stretch the field. I just feel like when you watch them, there's just no explosive playmakers. But Sean Payton, that's what the Saints offense was a lot of times. It's short control passing, all that, but it doesn't seem like they have any game breakers. But 3-2, I mean, who would have thought that after how Nix looked the first two games to win 3 in a row? I mean, incredible for the Denver Broncos. Seattle, horrible effort. Giants, they had Daniel Jones, by the way, yesterday. Without Neighbors, I thought he was going to struggle. Great effort by him. Giants dominated that whole game. Should have won bigger, to be honest. Big win for them in Seattle. Bad loss for Seattle. Niners in Seattle Thursday night. Huge game in the NFC West. Man, just a lot of fun football there yesterday. The witching hour, the Bills, Texans, and the Ravens, Bengals especially were just off the handle. Crazy. And, hey, we hadn't even touched on it. Let's talk about Monday Night Football. I got my black and gold shirt on. We're 30 minutes into the show. So much happened. We hadn't even hopped into it. We got the Saints and Chiefs Monday night. Freaking great. Patrick Mahomes against the black and gold. KC's a 5.5-point favorite, 43. Do you have any initial thoughts on this game?
I love the under in this game. I think the Kansas City defensive line is going to absolutely feast in this contest. I'm going to take the Kansas City defense to score, and I like the under 43.5 here. I realize the Saints have scored the most points in the NFL. I realize that you have Patrick Mahomes on the other side. Both of these defenses are very good. New Orleans' main issue is their offensive line. The best strength right now for Kansas City is their defensive line. I think Chris Jones has a monster game. I think the Chiefs destroy the Saints up front in this game. So I like the under, and I think it's going to be because of the Kansas City defense really showing up in this contest.
I like the under as well. When you look at this matchup, KC on offense, like they're 4-0. They do just enough to win. But, man, it's literally a body count out there. They don't have Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, or Isaiah Pacheco. Xavier Worthy is fast and a playmaker, but he's not like an NFL receiver yet, so it's more about getting the ball in his hands. Kelsey had a better game last week, but he just can't separate like he used to. The running course, Kareem Hunt and P. Ryan on a split. I mean, there's just no game breakers, but they do just enough to win. But your point on the defensive line is true, and especially the Saints' two really good interior linemen, Ruiz and McCoy being out right now, not having them to block Chris Jones is a nightmare. Taysom Hill also out for the Saints. I agree with you on the under. I actually lean the Saints plus 5.5 just because the Chiefs, I mean, they do just enough to win every week. They never cover.
Sure.
And I think this is going to be – I feel like this is going to be a close field goal game that the Chiefs pull out. Like the Saints have lost 2 of these dagger games, the Eagles and the Falcons, the last 2 weeks, and the Chiefs just always find a way. There's something to that culture. They just always find a way at the end with Mahomes. He makes just enough plays for him to win. But I'm kind of leaning Saints plus 5.5, but I like the under more than I like the Saints. So that's kind of my thoughts on the night. But big opportunity for the Saints here. They're 2-2. They got to – everybody, when you saw the schedule, you see at KC Monday night, you're just like right elbowed. But they got a shot here because they're catching a wounded Chiefs bunch.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think this is a huge spot for the Saints. I think the final is going to be like 27-14 or something, Kansas City. I just think this will be a spot where the Chiefs show up and take care of business. By the way, Mintz, kind of some people in the chat. And by the way, if y'all want to interact today, feel free to get in the chat. We need you to give a birthday shout out to first name Jenna, last name Tolles. So we got somebody there, longtime Mintzy fan. So if you want to say happy birthday,
Jenna. Yeah, happy birthday, Jenna Tolles. We got the we even got the balloons up for you, Jenna. Happy birthday.
There you go. Yeah, I'll cut out right there. We'll take a look at the balloons. Those are for you, Jenna. Happy birthday.
Yeah. Yeah, they were just up at the studio. I was like, oh, they're congratulating me on my parlay last night. But I was like, oh, let's leave them up for today because it's a celebration mode. It was a great weekend, all positive things. All right, Moody, we hit NFL. So much happened this weekend. We still got a little bit. Baseball playoffs are awesome, man. I know I hate on MLB. I don't really watch it during the season. Dude, October's just, it's unbelievable. And we had the Mets-Phillies on yesterday. Dude, how about this Mets-Phillies series tied 1-1 right now? Man, what a series.
The National League is so damn good right now as far as the storylines are concerned. Mets, Phillies, obviously, whenever you got your divisional rivalry like that and playing such good games early on. But the other one is even freaking better, bro. This Dodgers-Padres series is so good. The animosity between these two teams last night was incredible to watch. I talked about Fernando Tatis last week and how I expected him to have a huge postseason, and sure as hell he has done that so far. Did you get a chance to see what was happening with the fans throwing shit at him? And he was like dancing in the outfield and stuff, and then shaking
I just saw
his
on
tongue
Twitter.
at the
I was
fans.
watching the NFL game, but so explain it.
Basically, Fernando Tatis, he loves to pimp home runs. He's one of those guys that shows off whenever he shows out. I have no problem with it. It's part of the game. I love it. I think it's really good. But he and Jack Flaherty started going at it. Jack Flaherty strikes him out at one point. He's like, go sit down, motherfucker, all this stuff. And so then Tatis is yapping back at him. Machado starts yapping. Fans start throwing stuff on the field at Xander Bogaerts. Then they start throwing stuff on the field at Jerickson Profar. Then they start throwing stuff at Fernando Tatis. Tatis is in the outfield dancing, showing him the moves and stuff. The fans are giving it back to him. Then late in the game, up 8-1 or whatever the score was, Tatis comes up and hits another home run, and he hits the shit out of it. It's an absolute rocket the other way. He just big man this baseball opposite field. It was incredible stuff. That is one of my favorite series, and we're only 2 games in so far. I cannot believe, or I cannot expect it to get ratcheted down unless somebody just blows the other team out in the series. I think 7 games, and I think it's going to end up being
three out of 5
5. I think this will end up being one of the best 5-game series we have ever seen, just based on the talent that's on both sides, the animosity that's already happened in the first 2 games. I think this is going to be an incredible series, and I do somewhat expect Fernando Tatis to keep showing up. Can he be good enough to win this series? I don't know, but damn, he's been fun to watch so far. I've been all over the home run props for Tatis, and he has been taking care of business.
Yeah, and everyone I'm sure that's follow at Moody Mac TV on Twitter. He's giving out the he knows. We say it all the time. Moody knows more about baseball than anybody in this company. Not even close.
Well, one thing I will say, home run props they're difficult. We're taking plus 600, plus 700 on some of these guys. There's no guarantee these dudes are going to hit home runs.
No.
So understand if you're going to tail the home run props, they are the most difficult thing to do as far as baseball betting is concerned. But we do it at a pretty good clip. I think we went 2-1 on the last picks, 1-1 the day before. So, slowly but surely, we'll just keep building here.
Yeah, well, so Padres-Dodgers 1-1. Dude, the Mets-Phillies thing. So Dave Portnoy's made a big deal about it, and rightfully so. Dude, these Mets-Phillies streams are epic. Our Mets crew at Barstool is one of the funniest, most random collections of characters with KFC, Frank, Clem, Meek Phil, Rico. It's just a hilarious crew. And Clemmer. And then our Phillies crew with Roan, Smitty, and Max is awesome too. Did you see – I don't know if you saw the stream yesterday because a lot was going on. Moody, just an unbelievable moment on the stream where Bryce Harper's up and Clemmer goes on this whole speech about how Bryce Harper's not Shohei Ohtani or Trout and he's not scared of him. And then you just hear the crack of the bat on the Bryce Harper home run. It was just unbelievable. It was one of the funniest stream moments, and all the Met fans just jumped down Clemmer's throat for saying that. It was just, you can't make up moments like that where art imitates life.
Clemmer deserved that. I like Clemmer. I followed a bunch of his baseball stuff, but damn, he deserved that. To say that Bryce Harper is not scary is fucking asinine. It's just ludicrously stupid, especially in a spot like that. And he deserved the hate that he got from his fellow Mets fans. You can't say that about a potential Hall of Famer. There's a pretty damn good chance.
And Harper's done it in the playoffs the last couple of years too. Or last year. He was out 2 years ago in the playoffs.
Harper is a gamer. He is one of those dudes that shows up when it matters. Schwarber and Harper, they are gamers. There's no doubt about it. Those are two dudes I'm not going to shit talk at any point, and Clemmer found out the hard way.
All right, well, we got 2 games today in the AL. So because both NL series are 1-1, they don't play again until Tuesday. All right, Tigers trailing the Guardians 1-0. They got their Cy Young, Tarek Skubal, going to the mound today in Cleveland. That's a 3:08 first pitch on DraftKings. Skubal and the Tigers minus $1.30 favorite, low over under 6, going against Matthew Boyd. You got any thoughts here?
Matthew Boyd pitched really well down the stretch. He was awful for the last 2 seasons. Ever since getting to Cleveland, he has been very good. I would not be surprised if this is another pitching duel here. I'm going to lean Tigers in this game because Skubal has been so good the entire season. I mean, this is the American League Cy Young Award winner. This young man is competitive as hell. We saw the juice that he had early on already in his first start in the postseason. I think he's going to show up once again. He will be phenomenal here. I lean Tigers. I lean under. Most importantly, though, I think Skubal once again puts the team on his back and carries them here.
Well, it kind of has to, too, when you look at the series, with it being 3 out of 5, a loss here. And I know that they're probably pitching him game 2 to where he might be available on short rest for game 5 if it comes to that.
Yeah.
That's got to be the thought here. But, man, they're kind of – I mean, they got to split here to get it back to Detroit. So, you got your ace on the mound. He's got to get it done. Royals-Yankees is the night game, 6:38. They're going to be the stream's going to be in New York tonight for Royals-Yankees. Reagans, who pitched a hell of a game in Game 1 against Baltimore, against Carlos Rodon. Yankees minus 155, over under 7.5. Does Reagans have another effort in him as a plus $1.30 dog, or is just the Yankees are too much here?
It was Corbin Burns in that first game against Cole Reagans, and they went toe-to-toe, and the under was the right call in that game. I think that's going to be the exact same case again tonight. Look, the Royals have to get a win the same way the Tigers have to get a win here. You have one of your best pitchers going to the hill, left-handed pitcher against lineups that have lefties that you can beat. This is a desperation spot in Game 2 for the Kansas City Royals. They have to get a win here. You cannot fall down 2-0 to the Yankees. The Yankees are too deep offensively. They have more pitching than you have. This is a spot where the Royals must get a win with their best left-hander on the hill. Do I think they get it done? No. I think the Yankees are going to find a way late. I think Reagans will pitch very well. I think the Yankees will exploit a shallow Royals bullpen late. I think the Yankees get the dub. I wouldn't be surprised to see Aaron Judge find a late game home run. I like the Yankees here. But if the Royals want any chance in this series, they flat out have to win with Reagans on the hill. It is imperative.
Yeah, it's Tigers and Royals both kind of like, I mean, you never know in baseball, but both, both do.
It feels similar because of like just how their pitching sets up, the other team's advantage on the pitching side. Like this is a spot where both teams they got to get a win, man. So if they fall down 0-2 in these series, I don't see a path for them getting back and winning the series.
And we hit the baseball playoffs. We hit college and pro football. I'm not as big into this, but Moody, I want to mention you were going nuts about the UFC card Saturday night. How was that?
I thought it was one of the main event itself was one of my favorite main events that I've seen in a long, long time. You've got Alex Pereira, who has the best walkout in all of mixed martial arts, has done a UFC speed run. He's beating some of the best guys in the world. He has shown that he is truly one of the greatest fighters to ever step inside the ring, the cage, the octagon. I don't care. This dude is a flat-out warrior. And then on the other side, he had a worthy opponent in Khalil Roundtree. Roundtree used to be fat, out of shape, like had his life in shambles. He was doing drugs and stuff. Pulled himself back together, has become a high-caliber UFC fighter. He had an incredible walkout that was able to set the tone. Then you had Pereira behind him. Then they went toe-to-toe for 4 rounds. Roundtree won rounds 1 and 3. And then in round 4, Alex Pereira started to turn it on. If you haven't seen the pictures or the videos of Khalil Rountree's face at the end of that fight, you need to go find them. I should have grabbed them. But, dude, I mean, it was one of the best fights as far as two guys standing toe-to-toe and just slugging it out, showing off their skills and their warrior mentality. It was an incredible fight to showcase what the UFC can be at its best. It was an all-timer for me. And again, Alex Pereira comes away with the win. If you said to me today that you had Alex Pereira in your top 7 mixed martial artists of all time, I would have no argument against you. I think he has done enough and proved what he did in Glory Kickboxing and now in the UFC that he's one of the baddest motherfuckers to ever walk the planet.
Man, well, what a sport. I feel bad for people that don't love sports. I mean, you look at a weekend with college pro football, you mentioned the UFC, the baseball playoffs. This is the best. October's the best time of year. Just unbelievable how good. And I love the baseball games that are on non-football days, too, to where I can, like, watch all of them. Because it's like overload when they're on the weekend. It's, like, almost hard to follow too much. But, man, but just so excited about everything. Also, I'm actually proud of Got Vengeance. Had a horrible Monday morning weigh-in last week off eating, like, Chick-fil-A and Dairy Queen last weekend. And I was so pissed at myself. Moody lost 4.6 pounds this last week. Let's go.
There you go. Just
crushed it, dude. I got an exercise bed in, walked to work and back every day, ran like 10 miles, lifting. Finally, I keep doing this cycle where I eat super healthy during the week, and then I've been messing up on the weekend, and I'm just like, I'm over it. Like, I'm working too hard for the progress to give it back. So I was so encouraged to, I really went hard last week and feeling the results. And, it's a funny thing, but it's like the Dion, look good, feel good, play good. Like, lo and behold, look what happened with that parlay and all this stuff when I was, like, living right last week. I think it all goes together. So it's a little Monday morning.
If you could have one cheat meal, like let's say you were just on the grind, doing everything perfectly, but you could only have one cheat meal. What is your cheat meal, Mintzy?
One cheat meal. I got New Orleans on my mind because I'm going down there this weekend. I think like a really good fried oyster po' boy sounds like amazing right now. That sounds like that sounds like what I'd want right now. But I think that's also because Noel is on my mind. But I don't know. I found this. I have a sweet tooth, and I can't do no free ads, but there's a certain brand of keto ice cream that I found that uses monk fruit instead of sugar, and I figured out a way that this is solving the sweet tooth problem. Because it's way better for you and it's good. So now, like, whenever my sweet tooth flares up, I just eat that instead of eating, bad ice cream or dessert at restaurants. And so I think we've kind of found something there. But either way, I'm encouraged. I feel good. Made some money over the weekend. The Ole Miss Rebels are back. Favorite weekend of the year, Ole Miss LSU in Baton Rouge. So glad you're making it. Shout out Game Time for getting us the tickets. I'm doing Saints, Bucks, and Nola Sunday. I hadn't been to South Louisiana since early May. So just ready to do the damn thing this week. We'll be back. Like I said, we're doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week. Fun doing the Monday show. Dude, it's just so the Monday show off all the weekends is. I love doing it. Appreciate the chat for interacting, and we'll be back tomorrow. We're gonna raise some hell all week. Let's have a hell of a week. Monday morning, time to go to work again. Man, I love fall. The leaves are changing, football, and Stella Blue coffee. And this season, maple pumpkin pie. But my morning routine would not be complete without Dumpkin Spice Dude Wipes.
Oh, Mintzy, let it rip!
Cheers, furry fellas. Coffee that fuels you, wipes that clean you.